If you put the correct hashtags in the posts inside of the group and also the description of the group and the correct hashtags even in the title, we've seen groups like this woodworking group explode by 30,000 members a month versus before. For the past like 5 years of its lifetime, it was dead at 200 members, period. Like 200 dead. So I saw the time, I saw the graph and it went like whoop.
I'm Junaid Ahmed, host of Hacks and Hobbies podcast and a digital presence advisor at HumbleZone. This episode is brought to you by Home Studio Mastery. I launched a consultation and course program to help podcasters and course creators to create a space in their homes that will reduce the friction of creating content and appearing their best when showing up on camera. The pandemic gave us a lot of issues, but this one is here to stay. We're now so much closer to our audience thanks to video becoming more popular and affordable. I help guide folks who want to create Hollywood-worthy studios to not only capture great content, but also build more confidence, more authority, and be more comfortable in front of the camera. If I can do it, you can too. And with my help, you can do it faster. So if you'd like to learn more, visit homestudiomastery.com and how you too can create a home studio that brings out your personality, professionalism, and possibilities. Thank you for tuning in to Hacks and Hobbies with your host, Junaid. We're visited by our amazing guests coming from all walks of life. We want to learn their story, their struggles, and their journey on how they got to where they are today. So stick around.
In this episode, I sit down with entrepreneur and software business owner Kim Dang. Kim takes us on a captivating journey, recounting her humble beginnings in car dismantling and her transition to becoming a successful software entrepreneur. Tune in to learn how podcasting played a vital role in Kim's journey, enabling her to connect with diverse audiences and refine her message. Discover the power of consistency, the value of software businesses, and the steps Kim took to build her thriving community. Join us for an inspiring conversation that highlights the transformational possibilities when passion meets perseverance. Kim, thank you so much for coming onto the podcast.
Thank you, Junaid. I am pleasure to be here.
All right. Kim, I'm going to ask you a serious question. And you don't have to get serious about it, but it's about the power of podcasting. How often have you been podcasting? And what has it done for you?
Podcasting probably for the past 3 years. And what it has done is it's really enabled me to connect with a lot of people from all different types of audiences that I wouldn't normally connect with. Yeah. And then at the same time, enabled me to consistently hone in and tell my message. So it's a really good, what Russell Brunson calls mat time. It's really good mat time to stay consistent with my messaging.
Yeah, that's powerful. I love it. Let's take a walk through memory lane and rediscover the origin story of Kim Dang. Now, we are superhero lovers here, so that's why we use the origin story format. So Kim, talk to us about how you got started in your business, in your entrepreneurship life world, and where did it start? What was the moment?
Yeah, I would be that random kid that would rally the neighborhood kids together to go and sell stuff. So I'm like one of those kids. So leading all the way up to, I remember in college and even in high school, I would sell random things on eBay. In college, my dorm room was filled with like shoes that I would get from the dumpster of overstocked shoe locations, and I would sell those on eBay. And then after college, while a lot of my friends went off to graduate school, I instead moved to the desert and in California, and I started a wrecking yard. that might sound like crazy, huge kind of ordeal, but really it was me saving up every penny that I earned while working part-time in college to buy some cars and part them out. Because when I was selling stuff on eBay, I saw that the car parts world and the used car parts industry was huge. And I managed to rope in a person that was already working at a yard to tell me the secrets. And I partnered up with him.
Yeah.
And then we started a dismantling company in the desert together. One car led to two, led to three. And that got me a taste of what it's like to sell online. Now, it's not really the make money online world because it's so heavy with inventory, with physical products, with all these rules and regulations. Creating a dismantling company, that's what it's called technically.
Yeah.
But through that process, I learned how to negotiate. I learned how to figure out pricing and use software, ShipStation and eBay. And then I hired someone on Upwork to do my listings. So I figured out how to hire internationally. And because of that, fast forward to getting my freedom and the time back, I started traveling and rock climbing for 2 years on a kind of like a sabbatical because I've automated my company. And then I'm like, what is the opposite of all this heavy inventory world? It's software. So I had a friend, her name is Rachel. You might know her, Rachel Esley. She told me about this affiliate marketing world. So I went and I created a Facebook group based on her going, there's no inventory in this world. You could just sell someone else's stuff. And I created a Facebook group with the idea that people are going to click on my affiliate links and I'm just going to be a super affiliate.
Yeah.
And I invited all my friends, family, and there was only 25 people in that group. And I thought they would click on all my affiliate links. And that wasn't the case at all. I failed utterly. And but through that process, luckily, I saw that I was copying and pasting when people entered the group. I would ask 3 questions. One of it was like, what's your email address? What's your phone number? And I was just manually taking that data because once you click approve, it's gone.
Yeah.
In that process, there was a tool that I saw that you can automatically just get that information and push it to a Google Sheet. I believe because I have the experience of being on the other end of the owner, like owning things, I looked at that tool and I said, I can be a user, or maybe I can own the solution. And maybe this would be the non-inventory world that I get into.
Yeah.
That I'm not building, I'm not selling other people's stuff. I'm selling my own. And I went on Upwork again, created a job post, and job post says, create a Chrome extension that can get emails from Facebook groups. And then it was made very quickly because this is not like something new.
Yeah.
And then I got it, and then I launched it to my 25 people in my Facebook group. 2 people said yes to paying me a low amount. It was at the time $7 a month.
Yeah.
But when I saw that go through and I saw that reoccurring income subscription get started, I saw that for the first time in my life, I sold air. I sold something that I didn't even, that there's no physical thing. I'm not going to ship anything.
Yeah.
And I thought that it was so magical that I was selling time back to people. And some random person in India put some pixels together, put some code together for this. So when that happened, I was so amazed. And so all of a sudden I'm like, this is it. This is going to be the next years of my life. I'm going to try to figure out how to get more subscribers and really teach people how to earn reoccurring income through their own simple software without learning how to code, because that's what I did. Like in a week, I was making $1,500 a month, then $2,000, then $3,000, then $4,000, and it just kept on increasing. And that's because I read Russell Brunson's .com secrets book, and then I created a perfect webinar. And I launched that, and I was just so consistent with it. Every single day I would wake up and I'd think, okay, what can I do to get more subscribers today? Like, what are the things I can do? And every single day I remember going live. I would say my Chrome extension group convert all the time. And to the point where my ex at that time, when I did a live, he would poke his head in, he's get group convert. Like it's very much
It's just
like that.
selling for you.
So it was hilarious. And then from that, it led to me entering into masterminds, because when you start getting into this space, there are these people who would charge like $30,000 or $15,000 to learn from them about what the next level is.
Yeah.
So I got sold into all these masterminds, and one of the masterminds would create live events. So I started creating my own live events, getting people together, and then working the Facebook group world. And from there, it led me to create an info product, kind of modern MBA school that I have today on how to monetize from your community, because my tool helps people get emails from Facebook groups. But really, that's not all it's about.
That's
they
not all,
really
yeah.
want to monetize. They really want to create this movement. So
Yeah.
I combine that with the virtual world. So that now my own clients, within the next 2 to 3 weeks of their life, know how to pitch one-to-many into a virtual stage, which is in a Facebook group, and convert about 3 to 5% of their audience, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it's about 9 to 15 people. And that's a lot of, in terms of cash flow, that's a lot of cash flow for people who come into this space. They have a 5K offer, and then in a week they pitch, and then they make $45,000 to $75,000. And it creates this reality where coaches, course creators, agency owners can get a bunch of clients in a short amount of time in this window, and they can do it again and again. And it's a repeatable process. So that's where I am now. And from that journey, I've also, because I taught people how to have these little simple software, I've been acquiring cash flow software businesses in terms of Chrome extensions, because they're easy to manage, they're easy to buy. The whole process is really simple. And so I've created essentially this ecosystem where people figure out how to get clients. Now they got clients, and now they know who to hire, what to hire to scale out their coaching business or agency. Now they have the cash. Then I say, okay, with that cash, now you can go and invest it into these cash flow assets that are simple to manage. So that's what I've created, and that's where we are now.
Man,
kind of long-winded.
That's been quite a journey for sure. Going from dismantling cars, selling on eBay, to creating software businesses. And dismantling cars in itself sounds very heavy.
Yes.
Right? You're taking off doors from cars and taking off the panels and all the equipment inside of it. Holy smokes. And then you have to inventory. But yeah, you're definitely spending a lot of time, even though there's a ton of money in there. But then you also have to spend that same amount of time, unless you have 5-6 people working for you. But then there's no profit because you got to pay them, right? Whereas if you, with software, software products, you don't have to, you just pay once, and now you just keep growing it and bringing customers in.
Yeah, it's 95% profit margin for software, and it is about, for e-com, it's around 30% profit margin because of returns, overhead costs. I do have team members at the warehouse. I still have the business is there.
Okay.
And we have over 10,000 SKUs. I know more about car parts than I think a lot of people.
Nobody knows about this.
Involuntarily.
Yeah.
And then, so I remember all the A pillars, B pillars, transmission, the flywheel, just everything. And I think it's like the back of my hand kind of knowledge now. Like I just know it. But man, I do have to take a moment to remember how hard it was. Winters were really cold because I was working in a warehouse and it's super cold. And the summers were really hot because there's not that much
temperature
insulation.
controlled,
So different than what life is like now. But that's how I started.
I love it. I love it. So what I see is you are one hard worker. You're always looking at how can I be more efficient with my time. be more, there's a lot of lovely qualities for sure that's enabled you to get to this point, but it would not have been possible if you hadn't gone through that hard, rough patch. It wasn't a rough patch or hard working. So you're working hard before, now you're working smart, right?
Yes.
I love it. Now, I've got a personal question, right? I launched a little small group of teaching people how to build home studios, but I didn't really bring people in, or the people that I did bring in, I'm not sure if they're my target audience, because either they already have studios or they're nowhere near able to spend the time or the money to acquire the equipment. So how would you turn that group around?
Okay, this is what I would do.
There's
And I
about
love that you
230
asked these.
people in there.
What, how much? How many people?
230.
Okay. So you can actually fill up a group from 0 to 200 to 300 people in as little as 2 to 3 weeks.
Okay.
So like 230 people, if they're not your right people, I would actually create a training that's coming up that allows them to see the value in what you have to offer, but you'll fill it up with the right people. And how to do that is there's lots of software out there. My own is called Group Flow.
Yeah.
And what it does is we teach you how to think about getting paying people from other communities into your own. And I'll just tell you very simply the organic way, which is if they buy, for example, if your people buy cameras that are pretty expensive or the Shure SMB, there is a group out there full of Shure SMB people who paid at least like $500 for this and that and have a studio created in some way, but like they're too lazy or they don't know how to get it together. But those groups exist. So what the Chrome extension do is it'll go into the group and it'll automatically pull from the whole members list or pull from recent posts that are inside of these groups that are connected to like they bought something.
Yeah.
And then from there, they're more qualified because they at least spent $500 already. And then it's a pipeline by pipeline movement. And so how I made it easy for my clients is every single pipeline it'll be cold leads here, this pipeline. There would be my team and I help you figure out what to say as the first message. And it's very scientific. It's very step by step. This is the first message you say to them. They're from these other groups, but you're not saying, oh, we're part of the same group together. It's more, hi, just simple. Are you alive?
And then separate message. Yeah.
Yeah. And then
like personal connection.
Yeah. Personal connection. And then there's another pipeline that's like you liked something that they wrote and then you heart and then you did a comment. And then the next one is like you send them a message and see if they actually see your message, and you can actually message right on their timeline. Does check your DM trying to get a hold of you. And a lot of people surprisingly do check their DMs. They're not like, you're spamming me. They're like, oh, someone's trying to get a hold of me, and then they'll check it. And so it's very granular, step by step. There's like about, I would say 17 steps of these granular things. And every step of the way is a little bit of a message and scripting that so with the pipeline all set up, if you were to just plug in a virtual assistant, they don't need to be all knowledgeable about what to say. Every single step of the way, there's something that they're saying, copying and pasting into that particular person in that particular journey. And you're moving them. I call it the who and then the where. So who are they qualified? If they are qualified, continue that conversation. And where are they in that pipeline? Just move them from here to here so that it chunks the work hours of your virtual assistant to, all right, move this to this, move this to this. And so it's once that's set up, you don't have to depend on ads anymore. You don't have to depend on all these things. It's really organic. It's really straightforward. And the messaging is very important. So that's the first part. That's stage one of bringing the right people into your group. It takes about 2 to 3 weeks. Fill up the group with all the right people. And then my team tells you exactly what to say, how to pitch into the group. So you're pitching one to many. Again, it's like a pitching from stage.
Yeah.
And then when you pitch from stage, they have a short window in which they have to make a buying decision. So what we're doing is we're creating a clear path to purchase. They come into your group. You only let them in the day before you do your training. So there's a flooding effect. And then you ride that momentum to put them into a buying state, a buying decision mindset. And when you take them there, and we take into account like all the psychographics, right? Like what phrases will hit dopamine, serotonin, all that stuff, and then have them be in a trance-like buying state. And then we position you as the very next step in their journey because of all the pain points they've experienced. And then they just naturally decide to choose you. But here's the thing. You're getting 3 to 5% of the people who will say yes anyways. According to the law of diffusion, there's the early adopters, and then 60% of your sales will be like the retargeting people. But we're capturing that early adopter people who would say yes anyways. And we're giving you the best shot at it, which is in that
small window. Okay.
Yeah. And they have to make a decision or else they get kicked out of the group. So,
oh, wow. So they get kicked out of the group if they don't make a decision.
Yes, they literally get kicked out. So there's real scarcity. And then how I have it is once that small group is done, as in your training is over, you opened your cart, you closed your cart, you enrolled your people. It's around on average 9 to 15 people that you're enrolling into a high ticket offer. So your high ticket offer would be probably, I don't know, anywhere from 5 to 10K or even higher. So let's say you do 9 people, that's 90K. You're like, cool, I did this in 5 days. That's awesome. Now what happens to this group? The group collapses and all those emails that you got, you're like, hey, if you like to continue this journey, we have a larger community that is part of our, if you want to continue this journey, that's the call to action.
Right.
Okay, yeah, I do want to continue this journey. I didn't pay the high ticket, but I'm interested in being with my peers. And so they go and they flood into your main group. And that's the group that you don't pitch to all the time. That's the group that's your nurturing group. And that's the group that with the testimonials, with people enrolling, you're going to put congratulations posts throughout the whole way. So people are like, oh, wow, who are these people enrolling in all these
people
things?
that are just coming in?
Yeah. So it creates curiosity. And then you can leverage that current group that you have in 2 ways. One is, hey, I'm going to do a training. It's going to be in a small group. We'll only open doors on that the day before so that they have a chance to come in if they're interested. And then, so you're not hitting them with a message that they didn't sign up for. That's the thing. If you just put onto them something that they didn't sign up for, they're not as engaged. So you want a super highly engaged small group. Yeah. So that's why it works really well. Just to give you that breakdown, like how to fill up a group. And then of course, there are ads that you can run into to fill up the group, to opt in to a thank you page. There's also ads you can run, not only retargeting, but like cold into that group. When I teach my clients, I teach them to do it organically first because you can hire virtual assistants and they can actually help you with the setting of the call process versus just ads.
Yeah, because you don't know if it's going to convert. Instead, you spend money on the VA that's a human that can change and move with the conversation.
Yes. Yeah. So yeah, that's why this works really well. And it's just like stage one.
Stage one of what's possible. Man, that's really powerful. Thank you so much for that. Yeah. Definitely gonna jump on that for sure. All right, we're gonna take a quick break, Kim, and we'll be right back.
Okay.
With 3 hacks to share.
I'm Junaid Ahmed, host of Hacks and Hobbies podcast and a digital presence advisor at HumbleZone. This episode is brought to you by Home Studio Mastery. I launched a consultation and course program to help podcasters and course creators to create a space in their homes that will reduce the friction of creating content and appearing their best when showing up on camera. The pandemic gave us a lot of issues, but this one is here to stay. We're now so much closer to our audience thanks to video becoming more popular and affordable. I help guide folks who want to create Hollywood-worthy studios to not only capture great content, but also build more confidence, more authority, and be more comfortable in front of the camera. If I can do it, you can too. And with my help, you can do it faster So if you'd like to learn more, visit homestudiomastery.com and how you too can create a home studio that brings out your personality, professionalism, and possibilities. Welcome back, guys. It's Junaid here on Hacks and Hobbies, talking with Kim Dang. Kim, thank you so much for all of the amazing tips and hacks that you've shared so far, and actually taking us through stage one of how to really fill up a group and without spending any money into ads, because as we all know, you can waste a lot of money in ads and not see any return. But if you hire somebody, you will definitely see a return because you can talk to this person as opposed to trying to make sense with ads. Like, no, why'd you do this? Right? Kim,
Yeah.
share with us 3 hacks to take away. I know you've already shared 1 hack earlier.
Yeah, another hack is back in October 2021, Facebook groups, Mark Zuckerberg decided that hashtags are important for groups. We have this hashtag masterclass strategy that we teach our clients. And what that does is we've seen groups explode. This is for volume. This is not for really conversion. This is for volume. If you put the correct hashtags in the posts inside of the group, and also the description of the group, and the correct hashtags even in the title, we've seen groups like this woodworking group explode by 30,000 members a month versus before. For the past like 5 years of its lifetime, it was dead at 200 members, period.
Wow.
Like 200 dead. So I saw the graph and it went like boop. And that's one trick. One trick is hashtags are now important. Just at one point in Twitter's life, hashtags weren't important and then became important, or Instagram. So it's happening to groups. Not a lot of people know that it's happening.
Yeah.
So they don't even think about it. But if you do hashtags the right way to a group, you will be able to organically pop up in the searches, because Facebook groups are becoming more like search engines. Or
Ooh.
Facebook is a search engine, and groups are one of those things that do pop up when people search around. And then if they're scrolling through a list of groups, there will be a suggested group on the very top right-hand corner. So that like Facebook is really pushing people to come into groups. They're even buying out groups right now. Facebook are buying communities and then paying people to run Facebook groups. They're on scholarship, like they're giving people $10,000, $15,000 to run groups. It's actually pretty wild, but that's what's going on right now. As a tip, look into hashtags for groups to increase your volume. And then another tip is if your goal is to convert, you don't need to have a huge group. Let's say you want to do, one of your product is $10,000 and you want to sell to 10 people, like make $100,000. That's still such a small percentage. So I wouldn't even focus on volume. I just focus on the quality of the lead and people coming on in, and making sure that a lot of times, and this is something, I don't know if you guys know this, but you can, when people opt in, they'll give you a name, they'll give you an email address, and maybe they'll give you a phone number. And most of the time they'll give you like maybe a spam email or a phone number that doesn't work, or like a fake phone number. Of your list, you can do data enrichment campaigns where you can go and scrape the group with the first name, last name, the link to the profile, the link to their messenger message. And then that you can link to software like seamless.ai or Unbounce. First, you grab all of the emails and phone numbers from the internet, and then you can clean that list using verification, like phone verification, email verification software out there, so that you are essentially, these people opted into your thing, maybe, but you don't know if their information is real. So a tip is to enrich your data that way. And when you call out, you can call out using the same area code as that person, using software like Kixi, or software where when you dial out, it's the same area code that pops up on their phone. Another tip and trick, and this is for like calling out, is that you can go and if you have an iPhone and you send a text to that person through the iPhone, it will say, maybe this person is this name. Like WhatsApp. WhatsApp, the way WhatsApp works is similar, but iPhone also works. And people trust when there's maybe this person is this person. So it's a real person. And then you send a text that says, hey, I'm going to call you, and then call. That way you'll have higher pickup rate. So, okay, I'm like going deep into
You're just
that
going
world.
off with
It's
hacks.
just too much.
No,
Let me take a step back.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tips and tricks, hacks. Are these hacks related to Facebook groups or?
It could be related to your business. It could be related to something that they can apply. Yeah, so you're
Yes,
good.
absolutely. There's another thing, one more hack. There's another thing that I've been teaching called, what is it? Software arbitrage. So a lot of coaches, consultants, or even people who sell physical products, it's always like one-time physical thing, or maybe a subscription. That's cool too. But to have your business dependent upon these big one-time purchases, I look at my clients' world and I see what is something that can send their people into a continuity program or continuity system, which for us, I'm like, hey, if you don't own software, you can do software arbitrage. That means that there are tools out there that will allow you to add sub accounts that will allow you to white label their stuff, one, which is go high level, but go high level is like a complicated thing. There are things out there that are way more simple, not big of a headache. And then you can provide that for your people as part of your package in a very month-to-month reoccurring income way. And I'm collecting a list and I'm doing this myself. We're adding, like, just for fun, I would wake up on a Saturday and go, what can I software arbitrage today? And I would find a tool and I would go live to my audience. I'd go live for a little bit. And then I'm like, hey guys, look at this, do this. And then I would get like an extra $1,000 in reoccurring income based on 4 minutes of like real actual work. So it's cool. With that said, I've started teaching my own clients what to do with these arbitrages, because if they are a person who are invested into, let's say for your audience, buying into a setup, and then they're using software, they're using StreamYard, they're using Restream, they're using Zoom, they're using all these other tools. And instead of sending them off to all these other tools, why not own a solution and send it to your own? And so now you have that reoccurring income. And not only that, you get the sticky factor. They stay in your world a lot longer. And there's this concept called the upsell to the downsell, which is the upsell, they pay 10K, 15K, whatever K. And then the downsell is that month-to-month continuity where they have access to your list of tools, let's say. And then they will stay in your world just longer with less of a upfront heavy labor. So that's another thing. That's it. Those are my tips.
Kim, you've given us a whole bank of tips that we can utilize and start implementing in our own businesses. This is so powerful. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Awesome. Now comes the section of the portion of the episode where we go rapid fire questions.
Okay.
Number 1, what is the one hobby that you wish you got into?
I wish I got into copywriting as a hobby or hypnotism, whichever one.
I can't help you with hypnotism, but I can help you with copywriting. And you probably heard it around ChatGPT and OpenAI. That'll write copy for you, right? We've seen Jasper and copy.ai do copywriting for you.
Yeah, I've heard all of those. I tried Jasper. Yeah. I tried to get into ChatGPT, but they are overloaded.
Not anymore. I just checked today. They have a lot of, it's running pretty good.
Okay, cool. I'll check again.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right, next question. What did you want to be when you were a child?
My parents wanted me to become a doctor. So in my head, I'm like, oh, I'm going to become a doctor. And then I realized that a lot of my doctor friends, and my brother is a neurologist, by the way, so he's a doctor. They're just like work so hard and there's so much liability. So in my head, I'm like, wow, that's so much liability, and that's such a long term of my life to devote to that you must really do it for not the money, but like you really truly want to help people. And I just chose to help people in a different vein that is more, to me, more fun. Yeah, helping people online. But yeah, the doctor route, I could have gone on to become a doctor if I didn't see it as so much work. I'm like,
So
oh my
much soul
God.
sucking, right? My sister, my cousin, some people in my family are also doctors. And my sister was telling me how there's this coaching program and she charges 18K and her clients are doctors and she's teaching doctors how to become coaches.
Oh my gosh.
Right?
That's perfect.
I'm like, holy smokes.
My brother
This is
called
great.
me one time when his residency was like in jeopardy because of the whole economy.
Yeah.
They were going to let him go because they didn't have the budget. And he's, Kim, can you teach me what you know, how to make money online? And I'm like, yes.
Yes, I can.
Of course. But then that scare didn't like it was just a scare. Like he continued on with his journey. He's totally fine now. But yeah, I have people reaching out to me now.
Of course.
As doctors.
Another question, this is not a rapid fire, but in that same vein, what did your parents think when you were like, I'm not going to be a doctor and I'm going to go do something else?
Oh man, they were severely disappointed. Severely. They were so sad. And I remember the first car that I parted out, I actually borrowed my dad's garage because I can't do it in front of an apartment or anything like that. I parted it out in his garage, which was in the front yard. And I had the neighbors thought we were like doing something illegal. So I had a whole SWAT team like descended upon me. And there were men with guns, full-on guns.
God.
And we were just parting out a car to its skeleton. So I guess it looked scary that way. But yeah, like so when they saw that I was doing that, they were like, what are you doing with your life? And then they saw me like fill up a U-Haul truck with a bunch of the car parts to drive it to, I got a warehouse after that. And they were just like, so sad. And they didn't talk to me. We didn't talk to each other for 6 months. It was very painful because every single time they talk to me, they're like, you can still go back to medical school. You can still go to medical school. You can take the MCAT. And I'm just like, oh my God, no.
You don't understand. My mom, of course, you've got a penthouse, Miami, you're running this business. My mom still asks me, she actually stopped. She's like, when are you going to finish your degree? Because I don't have a bachelor's or anything, right? I went to community college for 6 years. And every once in a while, she's like, you could have, like, I could have what? But fun times. I had my home studio mastery course. It's not accredited. So they get a credit towards their college degree when they take my course. And my mom's like, where's the money? Where's the money? Yes, I need to market that course. That's something that we can work on. All right, next question. This is what happens when you know each other for a while and you're like, I just want to talk about everything else. Next question. What is your favorite movie or TV show?
Oh, favorite movie or TV show? It's really old school, but I like the movie Ready Player One.
Oh my God.
It's so good. I watched it like a million times.
Yeah.
About this dude who went into the virtual reality world, and it's by Steven Spielberg, the director. Really good movie. And he fights and he wins in this world against an evil organization. So that's my favorite movie. And then my favorite show. Actually, I don't have a favorite show right now, but I've been guilty watching Too Hot to Handle, which is on Netflix. And it's a bunch of hot people.
Okay.
They get penalized if they like try to kiss each other. They'll lose like $10,000. So it's really funny. And they picked like the most like frat boy. They pick the people who are the most impulsive with their ways.
Their emotions.
So so it's like this combination of super hot people who can't control themselves and then get penalized if they can't control themselves.
That is too funny. On that movie, I actually read the book and I was like, oh my God, they're gonna make this into a movie. And you're gonna and you're gonna know why I love that movie as well. because of the next question. What movie would you choose if you got to play a character in it?
Oh,
It's not going to be The Shining, is it?
The Shining. If I got to play a character in it, I would love to be a character with superpowers. So I would choose like the Avengers or some movie where someone has some ability to do something. So yeah,
Awesome.
probably fly or something like that.
That takes us to the next question. Who is your favorite superhero?
Oh, wow. My favorite superhero. I don't have a person that's a favorite superhero. I in my
somebody
head
who
when
flies, right? So
yeah,
there's
fly.
Iron
But when
Man.
I think about the people who like went against all the times that people told them they can't. And so there was this video that I played during my live event. It's by Casey Neistat. And when he started, there was a lot of people that are like, you're too ugly for movies. You can't.
Yeah.
And then he just did it anyways. So I think a superhero is someone who shows others that in the face of rejection and people saying that they can't, then they just go and do it anyways. So it's not really an individual person. It's like the concept of the person to me.
I love that. I love that. You can't do this, but you still do it anyways. Next question. If you were a board game, what would it be?
Board game, Exploding Kittens. Just kidding. I don't play a lot of board games. I don't know. I wouldn't be a board game. Yeah, I don't play a lot of board games. I just know that Exploding Kittens was created by one of my favorite comic artists, Matt Inman. He creates all these hilarious comics. And I thought at one point I was going to become a comic person because for 4 years in college, I would draw comics and I would publish it and I would put it on a WordPress site. So I still have all of that stuff, but
maybe you should start integrating into your emails that you send out.
You know what?
You know what?
I will. I'll do it in the next email.
Yeah, my friend Jonathan Stark, he has a comic that he sends out and it's called Ditcherville. And he's got either 6 panels or 8 panels, but in every single panel, the comic is exactly the same, a snail talking to a turtle. They have all it is just the different wording in each. And he's huge on price, the value pricing area. He's actually interviewed by Chris Do on his show. And so all the things that Chris Do teaches on his YouTube channel around value pricing, he learned from Jonathan Stark, who's actually also a guest on the podcast.
Okay. I'll look him up.
Awesome. Kim, this has been a lot of fun. Thank you so much for your time, your wisdom, your stories, and the laughter you shared.
Thank you, Junaid.
You're welcome. And we'll catch you soon in the next episode.
Okay.
Thank you everybody for listening, and we're signing off.
Congratulations, you made it to the end of the episode. Thanks so much for listening to our guest on this episode. Please send me an email at junaid@hacksandhobbies.com to tell me what you loved about our guest today. You could find links mentioned in this episode on the hacksandhobbies.com website.